The Timberwolves are the bane no more. The Denver Nuggets get a big win behind a massive performance from Jamal Murray, a surprising contribution from Tim Hardaway Jr., and some steadiness from the closing unit. We'll talk about it next here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, parts of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, a late night episode here on Monday night after the Denver Nuggets defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Final score was, I should have probably pulled that bad boy up. 127 to 114, a very impressive performance by your Denver Nuggets, although it didn't start that way. Well, it did start that way, and then things got a little bit crazy in the middle, but Jamal Murray settles them down. Tim Hardaway Jr. makes an impression, just some really awesome performances from the closing lineup. We'll talk about it all here. Very excited to get into the details with you. My name is Ryan Blackburn, host here at Locked On Nuggets, going solo tonight. In for Matt Moore, who has an anniversary tonight, and also helping out on the Locked On national side. Swipe is also on the national side tonight, so it's just me. Hope you guys enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So the Nuggets, they take down the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Demons, the Devils, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who the Nuggets just could not get past for the longest time. And I kind of thought the way that this game was going to go, Denver gets up in the first quarter, they look really good, and then you start playing a little shaky defense, and then the second quarter, the Nuggets just looked like a completely different team from the one that suited up initially. There's just a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of bad defensive plays. The scoring was lacking for a significant chunk of the first half. And Denver, I didn't know if they were going to be able to kick that habit. But Jamal Murray steps up in a big way in that second half, scores over 30 points in the second half alone, en route to a massive 43-point performance for him. 16 of 29 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line. He was doing it in every which way and was a plus 30 on the night in a game the Nuggets won by 13 points. That to me is significant. The Nuggets are playing their best basketball when Jamal Murray is on the floor, whether that is with the starters or the second unit, blended lineups, whatever you want to put out there. Murray has been electric. He has been the biggest reason for excitement for this Nuggets team at the beginning of the season. We've talked about the slow starts before. We've talked about what it looks like when the Nuggets are starting slow with Murray. But when they're starting fast, because Murray's starting fast, it turns Denver into a different beast at the beginning of the season. This is something that here at Locked On, we were talking about for a consistent basis. Matt Moore went out to San Diego, gave us the lowdown on how Jamal Murray looked, how the vibes were. He looked great in the preseason. He started things out in the first couple of games really well. And now he gets the scoring explosion that everybody's waiting for. He's always been capable of this. This is a level that you always feel like he could get to, which is why Nuggets fans hold him to such a high standard, and deservedly so. He is that talented. The question was whether he was going to be able to do it night in, night out. And so far through 3 games, he has been Denver's best player. Like, you could make an argument for Aaron Gordon with the way he started. You could make an argument for Nikola Jokic with the way that he plays on a consistent basis. But, I mean, holy cow, Jamal Murray has been electric to start the season. And it's really exciting. That's a very exciting thing for the Nuggets fan base, because you just know that provides a different layer, provides a different level for what the Nuggets can put out there. And so very exciting to see him not only play well and score 40, but to do it against this Timberwolves team. Now, major caveat. No Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is often the primary defender on Jamal Murray in these matchups. He is athletic enough to be able to get around screens and stick with Murray and contest his shots and be physical and do all of the things that might bother Murray a little bit more. It's not like Jaden McDaniels is a slouch. Like, he was on there the entire time. Like, he was out there the entire time. It was the initial defender against Murray on so many of these possessions. Dante DiVincenzo is a pretty good defender. He's not Anthony Edwards. He may not be Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who is a player that the T-Wolves might miss. I'm surprised that they didn't go to Jalen Clark on their bench. I thought that he would play. He was a DNP left calf tightness for them, actually. So maybe that is the reason why. But it felt like Murray could get wherever he wanted to go. Also really helps to have Jokic out there. He sets the table extremely well. Had another really nice game. He kept Denver in and close in this game in the first half. 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists for Jokic in the first half alone. He finishes the game, though, with 25, 19, and 10 assists. Like, the 10 assists are obviously what helps you get the triple-double. 3 straight triple-doubles for Nikola Jokic. I'm not sure if anybody has ever done that before. So, like, 3 straight triple-doubles to start the season is a pretty impressive feat. But the 19 rebounds, just a really great example of Jokic being able to impact the game in so many different ways. Oftentimes it's his scoring. Oftentimes it's his rebounding. Oftentimes it's his assisting. With the way that the Nuggets are now constructed, you lose Michael Porter Jr. Cam Johnson did not finish this game. He's actually got a shoulder injury that they were might actually be impacting him at least a little bit, according to the Nuggets. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll see what that actually, like, how much of an excuse that actually is. But it looked like he was in pain for much of the game. But without Porter, Denver, of course, needs to be big on the glass. And I thought that Jokic was huge on the glass tonight. The T-Wolves are a huge team. Like, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle are big by themselves. Naz Reid coming off the bench. Terrence Shannon Jr. is pretty big. They can play bigger. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is very physical too. But one of the ways that the Nuggets can help themselves on the defensive end is not to allow offensive rebounds. Jokic did a great job of that tonight. 13 defensive rebounds for him, 7 offensive rebounds for the Minnesota Timberwolves by themselves. It means you get a lot of box outs from a lot of people too. Murray had 6 defensive rebounds. It just felt like everybody contributed in that regard. And like, while Denver had some struggles on the defensive end, obviously, the second chance points were not that big of a struggle. That was one area where they really cleaned up. And it's something that they got better with, I think, as the game went on. And the game got closer and closer and closer down the stretch. So really impressive stuff from the Nuggets. They found ways to win. They found ways to get better. And it just feels like they are reaching a different level. Now, it's Jokic and it's Murray and it's Gordon who have each really been the contributing factors. Every other element is still trying to kind of fall into place. But they can fall into place and take their time, and you can kind of finesse things a little bit. And it's not just going to be it's not just going to be perfect right out of the gate. There's a whole bunch of rhythms and things like that that need to be discovered. Like, David Adelman's rotation chart tonight was crazy. Like, things were so different. Jokic staggered with the second unit in the fourth quarter. I was like, what in the world is going on? He played 11 minutes in the third quarter minutes. It was crazy. However, I do think that as the Nuggets continue to learn who they are, as the Nuggets continue to figure things out, those other elements will get better. But you can figure it out and still win if your stars show up. And boy, howdy did Jamal Murray show up, Nikola Jokic show up. Those guys were tremendous. As I mentioned, the rebounding. There was a crazy offensive rebound that Jokic got late in this game that sort of broke the backs of the Timberwolves as they how in the world did he get that? How in the world did the Nuggets score 2 points on that possession? Things like that. Obviously, the game ball goes to Murray in this one. He was amazing. There's no question in my mind that, like, this is what you need from him to be an all-star caliber player. And so far this year, he has played like the all-star caliber player that a lot of Nuggets fans would like him to be, that they believe that he can be. And I just hope that he continues to play like this, or doesn't even have to play like this the entire time, but just the baseline that he established in the first 2 games. If that's where he is consistently, and then this is the occasional explosion kind of game, the Nuggets are going to be cooking, folks. It's going to be a fun year. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about a savior for the second unit, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Peyton Watson. Both of those guys had fantastic games as well. We'll be right back here on Locked On Nuggets. All right, let's talk about FanDuel, folks. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game and want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game very exciting, especially if you live bet the Nuggets to win on the money line when they were down, and Jamal Murray on the points. That was a great call. There's obviously, when you're looking for your teams, making a late push makes that even more exciting. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We are also brought to you today by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love what you see, that what you see is what you pay for Game Time. There's no hidden fees at checkout. Plus, you can see exactly what your view is going to be like before you buy your tickets with their new in-app seat view feature. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. All right, we are back. Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. I'm going to take a glass of water real quick. Tim Hardaway Jr. is the guy that I think we really need to talk about next. I mean, holy cow. What a timely performance in a situation where Hardaway, or not Hardaway, where Cam Johnson is injured, struggling, clearly uncomfortable. Christian Brown, I thought, had a pretty meh game as well. Through 3 games, he's been pretty meh. 2 bad games against really good teams, 1 good game against a really bad team. That's kind of how I would grade Christian so far. But they didn't need him to be great. They didn't need Cam to be great because they got a very timely performance from Tim Hardaway himself. I was surprised. Now, I wrote about this at Mile High Sports, and you should probably go read that article. Maybe I'll link it down below when I can. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be a more surprising contributor than you think, because there's nothing like having outside shooting and confident outside shooting that you can trust on a consistent basis. So far, Tim Hardaway's defense has not been a problem. He isn't the greatest defender, and he can get burned at various points. But so far, he's executed what the Nuggets have wanted him to do. That hasn't really been a problem for Denver from night to night. And he's been able to be out there taking advantage of the fact that the Nuggets can generate some wide open shots. And let me tell you, some of these shots for Tim Hardaway were wide open. There was a sequence in the third quarter, I think they did it multiple times, where Jokic receives the ball from Murray going down Main Street. The corner is covered, but then Tim Hardaway circles right back up to the top of the key, and there's nobody there. There's just absolutely nobody within 20 feet of him. It is crazy. And for somebody as talented of a shooter as Hardaway is, and he cans it, and he takes it very, very, like a very timely shot on several of those occasions, and overall finishes with 20 points off the bench in 32 minutes. 32 minutes is a big number off the bench, but 7 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. Thought he did a nice job of kind of mixing in some DHOs and drives to the rim, got to the free throw line a couple times, had 3 assists, 0 turnovers, plus 25 for Tim Hardaway off the bench. That's the kind of impact that you're looking for. That's the thing. And again, with Peyton Watson also, he was a guy who jumped in and was able to close ahead of Cam Johnson in the rotation. Cam obviously struggling with both foul trouble, injury, and just all overall like unhelpfulness in a game like tonight. Peyton Watson comes in, has 2 massive threes back to back, and like in the middle of the fourth quarter, like huge plays, has some really great defensive possessions against both Jaden McDaniels, who was killing Denver at the beginning of this game, as well as Naz Reid, who has long killed Denver for the entirety of his career. Both of those guys were dominating. Peyton helps get some stops on those guys. And then he hits a couple of big threes on the other side. He finished an alley-oop from, or was it? It might have been a dump off, but it was an assist from Jokic on the short roll. And it was just a really great example for both of those guys, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Peyton Watson, of what the Nuggets can do with their rotation because they have depth. Now, Peyton Watson was on the team last year. I would not say that he was a trusted closer for the Nuggets. He could close. There might have been circumstances where he could have closed, but this was a situation where it was clearly the right call to close with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Peyton Watson over Christian Braun and Cam Johnson. Last year, you might not have been able to do that because you didn't have the requisite depth to make it happen. And just being able to find a way to make a lineup work down the stretch was such a big deal. There were so many awesome plays that happened because Denver found a mix that worked. They were able to get stops. They were able to get out and run. They were able to generate great possessions every time down in the half court. And it just felt like once they found the right mix, they were unstoppable. I love what they have done so far. There are certain things, and like we're going to, like, I know Nuggets fans are pretty frustrated at Cam Johnson. I do think that, again, the shoulder injury, clearly something that was bothering him. He was grimacing a lot of this game. And again, like try shooting with, and like Michael Porter struggled through this in the playoffs, so it's completely understandable. Try shooting with an injured shooting shoulder. It's pretty tough. I think that Denver now is in a great position because of the mix that they can put out there. They also, like I said, they staggered Jokic with the second unit. While Murray was getting a little bit of a break, you had Peyton Watson out there. You had Cam Johnson out there initially. He gave them just a little bit of time before they went back to their other guys. Christian Braun, same thing. And they just, again, find a mix that works. And so many lineups have already been tried. So many lineups have already been like pretty interesting and dynamic. And the way that they've been able to attack this has been really cool. So I've been very impressed. I've been very excited to see how David Adelman has handled this so far. I do think there are criticisms that can be had, but this is why you have depth. This is why Tim Hardaway is such a valuable option for Denver. And I'll say it again, like during the offseason, he was the least heralded player that the Nuggets got. Everybody and their mother was excited for Cam Johnson, and not a surprise at all. Everybody and their mother was excited for Bruce Brown, for Jonas Valanciunas. Hey, a backup center. Like, wow, crazy. And Jonas, I thought, was pretty solid tonight. Although, again, he only played 10 minutes. As I mentioned before in the episode last night with Matt, that's one thing I'm watching. Like, 10 minutes tonight, 12 minutes the first game, 12 minutes the second game. Like, he needs to be able to play more. The Nuggets need to find ways to get him out there more. We'll see whether they can. But just having different options to be able to go to. Like, Bruce Brown was the hero in the second game. He was great. Peyton Watson had a great dunk in the second game. He was also great in the third game. But this was the first game that Tim Hardaway was really the difference maker. Obviously, Murray, you don't win this game without Murray and Jokic doing what they did. But Tim Hardaway changed this game when he came in off the bench. You think about the guys that Minnesota often has off of their bench. Usually it's DiVincenzo and Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Well, now Anthony Edwards, he's out, obviously, so they moved DiVincenzo into the lineup. Conley's in there. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's gone. This looked like two different teams. Like, the T-Wolves kind of look like last year's Nuggets team, where they've got Naz Reid coming off the bench. That's a little different. But you've got Terrence Shannon, Bones Highland, Rob Dillingham. Like, those are a lot of young guys. Denver's the team with the veterans that you could trust in different situations and put them into, like, they're not going to get rattled by the moments. And that to me is really cool. That is a good sign for things to come. When we come back, we are going to discuss why this game matters so much more than you think, so much more than you can believe. We'll be right back here on Locked On Nuggets. Ooh, different little window here. Let's talk about Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's SAD, software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They're helping millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. What I love about Rippling is how it removes the bottlenecks and busy work that often slows teams down. Everything from the onboarding to payroll to IT access, it runs automatically and perfectly in sync. Rippling can do it all, whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, or finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. We're also brought to you today by Monarch. Let's be honest. Most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth between 401ks, savings, investments. It's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. I love that I can review everything with my family. They make sure that we can see our shared goals, make every financial decision better together. It's just clean, easy to understand. The visual dashboards and smart tools, they make it so much easier to see where the money's going and how to make it work harder for me. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Final segment, Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. There is a baseball game that is going on right now that give me an update in the comments, folks. I think, what are we in the 16th inning, 17th inning, somewhere around there? It's getting a little crazy in here. But let's talk now about why this game matters. I mentioned, and we talked about this when Denver lost to Golden State, when Matt and I talked about this. It wasn't a bad loss. And he called it a bad loss. I don't think it's a bad loss. I think that, again, that was a road tough team, first game of the season. Obviously, it's a tough situation. You would have loved to pull that one out. But I didn't think it was a bad loss because you're facing a very good team on the road. This wouldn't have been a bad loss either. if Denver had lost it. Like, I know that like Minnesota's on a back-to-back. I know that Anthony Edwards is out. But again, this is a really good team that you're facing, and you're going on the road. It's early in the season. Everybody's still trying to figure stuff out. This would not have been one that I would have looked back at and say, oh man, would have liked to have that one back. No, those are the Charlotte games. Those are the Washington games. Those are the Brooklyn games. Those are the ones where you lose. It's an insufferable loss because you knew that the effort wasn't good enough. The effort tonight was good enough. The execution tonight was good enough. If they had lost this one, I wouldn't have been that upset. It would be frustrating, obviously, because Denver just couldn't get over the mark against the T-Wolves, but it wouldn't have been that bad. They stole this one on the calendar because you think about like how many of these, when you go through and you look at the schedule at the beginning of the year, you go through and look at the schedule and think, okay, which games make the most sense? Which games are they likely to win? Which games are they likely to lose? This is a game that they were likely to lose at the beginning of the year. Now that they have turned that into a win, look, they very easily could have been 1-2 heading into like through the first 3 games of the year. Now they're 2-1. They flipped the game on the calendar for me. I wouldn't have picked them to go 2-1 at the beginning of this season. I would have predicted 1-2. Last night, I did predict that the Nuggets would lose this game, and they proved me wrong. And that is how you go from being a 50-win team to a 58-win team. It is not just like taking advantage of the home games. It's like there's a whole bunch of things that go into it, but it's stealing wins. It's, hey, we're really surprised that things happen this way. Opposing team has a problem that they like. Obviously, you lose Anthony Edwards for this kind of game. That's a tough thing. You like the T-Wolves were in a bad position. The Nuggets could have let them off the hook, and they didn't. The focus that Jokic, that Murray, that Aaron Gordon, that not Cam Johnson tonight, but that Tim Hardaway Jr., that Peyton Watson, that all of these guys put into their craft tonight helped them get a win that they wouldn't have otherwise. Now, Denver went for this game, and that to me is a big deal. On my rotation chart, I have Jokic at 38 minutes, Murray at 39. Obviously, the other box scores have them at a little bit lower, but Denver went for it, right? Like they played those guys heavy minutes. They really put in some interesting rotations. They were fortunate that they could get those guys out of the game, but if they had to close all the way at the end, Murray would have been pushing 40 minutes. Jokic would have been pushing 40 minutes. Doing that too early can have some negative repercussions later in the season. You just get tired if you do this too often. So the fact that Denver got it is a big deal. Too often last year, Denver would go for these kinds of games. Malone would go for it. You'd play the guys heavy minutes. You'd get Jokic for 41, Murray for 38, or even like 43. Like these guys are playing crazy minutes, and it's fine if you win. It's okay. It's not great. You'd rather those guys play less. You'd rather win where they play a regular number of minutes, but sometimes this happens. But it's bad if you lose. And Denver should be able to like have some better, more minute balanced wins in the future. But this one matters to me a ton. It also matters because it's the Timberwolves. And again, Anthony Edwards is out. Is this a good representation of what it's going to be like in a playoff series when you face that T-Wolves team at full strength? No. But it is a game that you faced a very athletic, physical, versatile team that often gives you so much trouble, and you managed to get it anyway. So I think Nuggets fans should be thrilled. They should be thrilled about this game. I know that there are reasons to be concerned. It's game 3. All you can do is just survive, get early wins, get through this early season slog, and find a way to move on and to move forward and to have a good record at the beginning of the year. Like I've said on a constant basis here, Denver needs to take advantage of these first 2 months of the schedule. These next few games for Denver are not difficult. This is a not difficult schedule that they have at the beginning. And they've also been kind of gifted some early season rest not rest, but like injuries, like where Anthony Edwards doesn't play. Zion Williamson, I don't know if he's going to play for New Orleans on Wednesday, but he was out tonight versus the Boston Celtics. So you take advantage of those opportunities. You win the games that you're supposed to win. You steal a game or two that you're supposed to lose. And suddenly you're looking at like 12-4, 13-6, 15-5, something in that general range. And you can really rattle off win streaks and consistent win opportunities where you weren't able to last year. So Denver's got that even keel nature. I don't think they're going to get too high from this game. They understand that there's a long road to go. But I do think that overall, Nuggets fans should be thrilled. This was a great game. There are going to be things that they can figure out throughout the year. But right now, you just want to bank wins. It's not about how you do it. It's not about how pretty it looks. It's not about the method. It's just about getting it done and figuring things out going forward. All right, folks, that is going to do it, I think, for this episode of Not Pickaxe and Roll, Locked On Nuggets. Thank you so much for hanging out with me late on this Monday night. It's now Tuesday morning. It's 12:06 a.m. here. Thank you for tuning into the show. Really appreciate it. We will be back. Not sure if we're going to do a Tuesday night show, but we will certainly do a post-game Wednesday night show after the Nuggets face the New Orleans Pelicans. DeAndre Jordan signed with the New Orleans Pelicans earlier last week, so we'll get to see an old friend. Should be fun. Everybody have a great night. Good win for the Nuggets. We'll talk to you guys very soon.